Hello everybody, my name is Troublmaker and this is Wargame AirLand Battle. This is a regular match from the ladder. This is a ranked match between two very high level players. So representing the blue, playing as NATO, we'll have General McPenis. Great name all around. And his opponent representing the color red, also NATO, is Hyperion. Now how high level are they? They're not the top obviously, because they've never been featured on this channel, but both are, worthwhile talents. General McPenis is 1950, I believe, and Hyperion is 1850. And these are two players that might be worth signing up on a team in the Wargame Red Dragon. So we're going to watch a regular game. This map is really, really interesting. It's got lots of cool features to it. It's very, very tiny. This is it represents the smallest map we have, but there's also a border that increases the map by about 3 times. Now this allows for a lot of things. One, helicopter rushes. So a good player on this map is always going to have scouts. This is a great position here because it's hilled. There's also down here you want to cover, and on the inverted side you'll want to go for here and here. And sometimes you'll see some mini attacks on these flanks to try and get rid of those recons. Rarely do you see a lot of action there, just because people at this level usually scout for it. Worthwhile also noting is that there's 2 middle bases here. They're symmetrical in almost every way except that this one only gets these 2 bases pointing as potential AT targets, and this one gets this base, and this base, and this base that can all hit AT. This one in the middle here, of course, can't really hit. Bushes are in the way in every single place, so that's a small imbalance. But this one also has more surface area, which means that you can attack more with tanks and auto cannon and whatnot. And what else is very important for this map? Oh yes, these bases. So not really standardized metagame, but generally speaking, what happens is you'll have, red will take Delta and Echo, and then over here we'll see Hyperion take Hotel and Bravo. He'll also take Juliet, and red will also take Alpha. And then each of them will grab one of these bases, and it'll be a stalemate in the middle. Now, there are some things that can change with this. There's this giant open field here. If Hyperion was to go from here across here, he could hit with decent tank numbers and wipe this out. Similarly, but not exactly, General McPenis can attack here, across here, and wipe that out. Generally speaking, you do not want to run into the enemy's reinforcement point. You will always, well not always, but you'll mostly lose, especially in 1v1. We have got the game going, and it's also worth noting there's only one path for aircraft here. So if for somehow you can get an anti-air infantry behind lines, you'll kill it. You'll kill an aircraft easy. But we are going. Looks like we're going to see a helicopter airborne approach here from General McPenis. He has some Gazelles and some Hueys. He wants to get this middle base as fast as possible. No airborne heli is going to middle for Hyperion. He has in fact going to Alpha, but he does have 2 anti-air helicopters showing up. So he's going to try and use these to pick off a decent number of units. And this is a pretty interesting strategy. Definitely distinct from anything we see. Now here they come. Now the Gazelles can fire up. The OHs are go. They do have the splash damage, so they got 1 so far. One's running out of stingers, and okay, so it didn't exactly work the way he wanted. Not quite the good trade. These Gazelles autocannon, too good. And in fact, he's going to land this guy low altitude. He has no ammunition left in it, unfortunately. But here comes the reinforcing autocannon, some Flak Panzer Jeopard, and a tracked rapier coming in. Saracens are in fact able to deploy without taking any losses, and we're going to see some Fusiliers being deployed in the middle here against some light riflemen. Now, light riflemen are not the greatest of units for this kind of thing. And oh my god, freedom fighters have just stormed in. Light riflemen, not particularly the best for this. They do have a very, very potent anti-tank cannon on that bad boy, the Dragoon. The Dragon, I should say. But not the best against this. With that extra little bolster, though, looks like they will be able to grab this position. And the nice thing to light riflemen is they can, in fact, get some pretty damn good shots off, and that's exactly what this guy is doing. has moved forward, is getting those shots off, and yeah, looks like he might be able to get one vehicle kill. And Fuchs is running here for some reason. Now here comes double napalm infantry, and this is where it gets kind of scary because napalm infantry just almost have a ridiculous trade rate. Sappers are running forward; they're being gunned down by the light riflemen here. Might have pulled out just a little short, but there is a ridiculous number of autocannons supporting. We have the Bradley IFV, which also has the tow rocket, and some riflemen walking up. So this will be a challenge. Oh, Freedom Fighters. Good shot. Gets a vehicle kill. In fact, get a helicopter kill as well, which is very unusual. And Sapper is actually surviving quite well. Looks like they're getting into napalm range. So, oh my god, enemy Sappers. It's a little bit of a flame off. And advantage right now going to blue, going to NATO. General McPenis with Sappers in the middle. Hyperion, however, does have the +2 bleed because he has grabbed the +2 base, as Hyperion hasn't. And Hyperion is really, or sorry, General McPenis, who's blue, is really working on trying to get this early position in hopes that it'll eventually pay off. And you can see here, Hyperion's doing a little bit of weirdness here. He's moved some tanks up here to try and cut off any reinforcements. It also gets him out of range of the General AT path, which is here, here, here. And he's able to do a little more damage with these units than he'd otherwise be able to do. Riflemen all getting gunned down, of course. This napalm is just so good. And yeah, he is just pissing fire out on these riflemen. Going to get gunned down easily. And now it looks like a great position here for General McPenis. He has AT in the front. These Chieftain Mark IIs shouldn't be able to do too much more. I mean, one's completely out of ammo. Probably had a gearbox hit. And the other one is, yeah, just one Chieftain Mark II. So we'll have to keep an eye on that. Oh my god, here comes a Lynx. This is a direct counter to that. And Freedom Fighter not going to get a target at anything. And got one shot off on one Chieftain. Only needs to get the second shot. Yes. Can't actually see that he has run out of ammunition. He's targeting the wrong guy. And we have a little bit of a helicopter duel. That's always interesting. With a little bit of support from a single Flak Panzer Jeopard going to help knock that down. Freedom Fighter, you're so good. So good. In 1v1. In team games, the Freedom Fighter is a very, very lackluster unit. And wow, look at these. Hyperion actually able to slide these all the way around. Now there is a Fliegelfuss here, Fliegelfuss, which is an AT gun. So they will be able to have some defense, as well as the light riflemen can be very, very good. So right now, looking at Hyperion has gotten a pretty sizable advantage by grabbing this Delta base, but that is going to be short-lived, as maybe momentarily we'll see General McPenis take Hotel. Now there is an SAS, elite British unit, running around the back here. And this is a crazy recon position because he's going to cover so much vision. He might also try to use that unit to snipe. And light riflemen actually going to get some free shots off on the Flak Panzer Jeopards here, which are, for whatever reason, not firing. They should see this. Yeah, just not quite in range. Now he's going to move up, and moving up actually increases the accuracy of these rockets, believe it or not. So it's a bit of a trade here, especially considering that the Flak Panzer's not that armored. It's got a +3. It's still better than a light rifleman's -0 armor, and almost all the Sacco is gone. Actually, he gets the Flak Panzer. That's a pretty damn good trade right now. We'll get gunned down by this Gazelle cannon, but very, very, very solid play from General McPenis. If he can just grab this 2-point base, which looks like he is doing right now, he can go ahead and stop the lead and start doing some expansive work. Huge push came here, defended pretty easily. These light riflemen, seemingly a strong unit of choice for both. They're kind of a hybrid type unit where they can deal with infantry relatively well, but not as great as most, and can also fire on tanks. And no anti-air here. Here comes a Huey. Might try and drop some on the backside here and kind of squamish its way in. Might also try and sneak all the way through. There is a recon here, so it should spot hypothetically. But this is the main point of action, the flashpoint. Milans have been deployed. Want to get this Fuchs down before we move forward. And can we say goodbye? Can we say goodbye to you, sir, the Fuchs? He's actually been surviving quite well. And these armored vehicles are a radically amazing design. You can see the nice little German logo on this. And looks like it's taking damage finally, but dear God, it's actually out of ammunition. That's how well that Fuchs has been doing, and it's just actually soaking damage here. So hypothetically, you'll be better off, for instance, not wasting any rockets on this. Now, here comes some riflemen, more light riflemen. Seems to be the unit of choice. They've got a 4 position, a Huey coming in to intercept some vehicles. There is an autocannon on it, so it will be able to deal with this. And oh my god, is that a sack-close rocket firing on a helicopter? That better not be that. That is in fact the case. That should not have happened, but it did. Those are RPGs. They're not really supposed to go up. Something really funny going on here, people. These light riflemen will be able to do a decent amount of trading here. Might be able to get this Fusiliers. But here comes the Sappers, which will ruin their day. Great attempt, good position. Unfortunately, there's no follow-up, and that's the big thing. You have to have a follow-up to all this. And this is just a little bit late coming. It needed to come a little late. The light rifleman actually running away? Is that true? That would be brilliant, actually. But no, it looks like he's going to go ahead and run back in and die a steamy death. Yes. No, he's actually going to run away again. I don't know what he's doing here. That's just some really weird micro choices here. I would think he'd try to get these guys away to a position where he could actually use the sacklos to wipe out vehicles without having to expose himself. But he has decided the freedom fighters will come, and the reign of General McPenis is coming forth. Their target's going to be the Sappers, yes, and the ATGM. Good choices all around. Doesn't actually kill much of them. Sappers are mostly dead, though, except these these ATGMs, so not so good. And light rifleman has been routed, which is the French word for run away. Out, out, out. And yeah, completely reinforcing that position. So like I said, this is usually not a big position for skirmishing, but in this case, General McPenis has made it. So he grabbed Foxtrot early and then allowed himself to kind of get in here. Now there's also a slow move up of Fusiliers in the south, and we'll have to keep an eye on that. This SAS here on the bottom doesn't quite see the command. It's tucked apart. It's tucked in the middle of the forest, but he is moving it closer and closer. So we're gonna have to keep an eye on that as well. Autocannons being used on MD Jupiters, not going to be a good trade for the autocannons. And of course, MD Jupiters are empty vehicles, 1-point vehicles. You throw them away, you waste ammo, and it looks like some Sacklo is actually going to get wasted here. So making great use of these MD Jupiters right now. If you can get another round of rockets, it'll be worth the waste. And like a lot of these guys are running out of rockets because they're generally speaking, this is kind of crappy. You want to keep your rockets off when you know it's a vehicle, because autocannon can kill it before it reaches and all that good stuff, but they're just trying to waste your ammunition, and that's never good. So there are a scattered groups of Jaegers here. Unfortunately, General McPenis was not able to breach this position, and Alpha will be captured, and looks like Juliet was also captured simultaneously, so now the bleeding opportunity goes to General McPenis if he can grab a command here at Foxtrot. And it might be worthwhile at this point in the game for him to kind of settle down. In fact, he does have a command here. Yeah, settle down, turtle up, get lots of AT, lots of AA, and bleed him out a bit. Because right now he's 150 points behind. And yeah, he's going to be bleeding for a while. But, I mean, there's nothing verified in life. There's nothing confirmed in life. There's no reason to believe this is how it ought to be or should be or will be. And these Jaegers, very, very resistant to damage right now. Took a lot of autocannon shots so far. Only lost 2 members so far from all of that. That is exceptional. Of course, these guys have a lot of ammunition, so it's going to be a while. Autocannon, of course, is the most cost-effective way to kill infantry, just because of the range advantage and the fact that they do such ridiculous amounts of damage to light vehicles and light units like infantry. And Jaeger finally going to close in. He has that PZF-44 heat rocket launcher, or rocket-propelled grenade launcher. And we'll be able to clean out this position and grab this single bush here. What value that will have, not entirely sure just yet. There is a kind of a certainty that he might be able to stage AT and close off this road. That's possible. Or he might just move up here and try and grab these southern bases here. Absolutely possible too. And with this light rifleman being pretty low on Sacklo's rockets, getting reinforcements in will not be a problem. And in fact, it looks like General McPenis is in fact going to try and settle down. He's got a lot of infantry coming down. And generally speaking, infantry is not the unit you push with. Oh my god, he's lost the freedom fighter. That is bad. Yeah. They're not the unit you push with, and dear god, oh my god, this just happened. Delta got killed by the SAS. You can see he's got the veterancy here. And big giant bleed here for General McPenis. It's now +3 bleed. And this could actually be game ending. It's going to get crazy pretty soon for Hyperion. He hasn't really been playing a big air game. And generally speaking, in Conquest, a lot of people use the air game to try and pick off units. Now here comes a freedom fighter. And what will he go with here? What target will he try and kill? Maybe a vehicle. Jeopard does find him, however, so that's going to be a problem. If there's any German-speaking people, I can pronounce the Flak Panzer part. That's pretty easy. This last part, Jeopard, is that correct? Jeopard? Or is it like a soft, like a J, like a J-pard? J-pard. Or am I completely wrong? Somebody should tell me this, because this is a unit that won't go away. It is one of the definitive Cold War units, and yeah. Looks like Freedom Fighter going to get an AA, but it's a bad trade anyway, because he kills and gets killed. And I always like watching these planes crash. Not because the wreckage is anything cool. It's because if the plane crash lands on something, it kills it. And that's one bigger reason why you should split up your units and not clump up your units, Hyperion. In some positions like this, the trade-off of clumping up your units is so great. Just because double flames, great, recon up front. Ooh, he's forced to move. Bradley IFE with its rockets able to hear. Has he turned them off? That's a good question. And looks like he has. So good on him. When people are throwing away vehicles, you have to throw off your rockets. You don't want them to be wasted. It's very similar to how when you know the enemy has an anti-radar out, like the Raven, you need to get something to shut that down. Now, oh my god, this is going to be bad. There is a command coming here. It wants to get to that 2-point base, and General McPenis should see this, does see this. What will he do? Now, he's already used his freedom fighters to knock out some anti-air units, so this kind of clears the way. There is the Flak Panzer Jeopard here, but it is a little bit far away, and he should be able to get this relatively easy. He's got a backup freedom fighter just in case. One-shotted! And this is going to signal a huge morale change for Hyperion. He's not going to be able to play the standard game. And now he knows. Yes, he moved the Zippo in. He knows that the SAS is here. He's going to go kill it. This is the bastard SAS that's been doing so much damage. Killed a Zippo tank. And now, oh my god, brilliant. General McPenis is going to try and move the SAS out, reposition it, and use it for a new scouting path. I would not be surprised at all if he moved it over to Charlie, because that's the better of the two. Echo is the reinforcement point. There's tons of forces coming through there. It's going to be impossible to find that. But if you go to Charlie, there's not going to be a lot there. Not as much. And Chieftain Mark II, not able to see that SAS, able to get out, and quite brilliant. He might still be able to get that command at the 1-point base. Did we just miss a push up here? Yes, the Yager's actually trying to slip by the SEC. Now, of course, they're not recon units, so they are very, very visible. I mean, there's a statistic from the U.S. Army that just ends up being universally true of all armies. Obesity is more prevalent in the Army than in any other occupation. That sounds weird because the image you get is of muscle heads, but it's true. When you're looking at the elite forces, they're very sleek, very thin, move very well. When you're looking at the general population, very fat and very visible. These are not the special forces from the movies. This Yager will go down for freezy, basically. Anytime an autocannon kills anything, I call it free. And we have this NM195 moving into position to try and get this line of sight here, so that if anything was to come across this way, the NM135 will hit it. Sorry, 195. People of various countries, it's a good idea to name your vehicles after things. For example, the F5A is also known as the Freedom Fighter. The M2 is known as the Bradley IFV. Those are simple, and oh no. Bradley IFV's going. Desperation starting to set in here for Hyperion. And look at this brilliance here. SAS moving up close to Echo. And right now he just wants to get a good position to spot with. And this map is starting to look really, really brutal right now for Hyperion. Not much chance of him winning this anymore, just because he's lost a lot of units. Those Bradley IFEs are very, very, very good. Now this push in the middle should not hypothetically do anything, but a lot of the AT is pushed in the back, and he has been using it for this flank here. And gonna go ahead and stick at it. Oh my god, Jaguar GR1A coming in. And one thing you can tell about these two guys, you can tell they're very high level because they're using almost mirror decks. I mean, we have a red SAS here spotting for Hyperion, and then we have the blue SAS sniping tanks left and right in the south. Looks like he's going to go ahead and keep it here. And this position here should allow him to see the aircraft come in so he can intercept them if they were to show up. And he is +3. He's bonused right now. He's doing good. And shouldn't take too much longer. It's every single point on the map when bleeding will bleed at a rate of 1 point per 3 seconds, and for 2 point bases, 2 points per 3 seconds. So with a +1 per 3 seconds, let's see, that's 20 points a minute. This match should end around the 8-minute marker, give or take bad math. Just because of this. There could be some radical changes, like if this SAS, and this is, well, there's a big battle going here. I'll talk about that later. The Fusiliers gonna get wiped out by the Sappers. 13 hit points now. A lot of people always ask, Troublemaker, how do you deal with those napalm infantries? They are quite invincible. And the answer is quite simply, they're only good against one unit. They're only good against light vehicles and light armor, which is going to be, these vehicles and these infantry. So tanks and heavy-hitting autocannon vehicles are all going to do very, very well. In the end of the day, sappers are just infantry, and they're vulnerable to all the same sort of things. This position on this Tove is great, by the way. Able to get some nice skirmishing shots off at this chieftain, and without the AA here, he's going to be able to get a lot of bonus shots off here. Does in fact get the Mark II tank out, and will continue his rage on the Saracen possibly. No, actually going to go for this southern area here. Knocks out that vehicle. And here comes another one. These Lynx toes are so good late game. If you're ever wondering what the role of the helicopter is, it is a late game skirmishing unit. At the end of the game, when the pushes come, when you're pushing, you want a unit that can come from behind, super long range, and fire those rockets and destroy those tanks. And that's what he's going with here. But the bleeding out continues. The score is getting pretty bad. Almost double now. Here comes some starfighters here from Hyperion. We haven't seen a lot of air units from Hyperion in this game, and this might just be a little bit late. Generally speaking, with your aircraft, and this is so true, the earlier you get your aircraft, the more value you get out of them. The later you get them, the less value you get out of them. Because they don't cost supplies, they only cost opportunity. You will get more opportunities and get more supply out of it the longer you go on. Whereas these units are good the second that you get them, and they don't increase with value over time. That's just how they work out. So we have this Jaguar GR1A coming in again with his M close, which is kind of like a SAC close, except it has a different name, and knocks out this command. Quite brilliant. I'm going to go ahead and get another shot. Oh my god, yes. M close rockets are so much faster than SAC close rockets. Able to get 2 units with a single bomb run. And here comes the starfighters. Now this is what will bring Hyperion back in the game, by the way. Late game airplay, so good. So good. And gonna go and try and aim down what here? Maybe some infantries? No, actually going for that Strav 102. Now, what was I talking about this SAS? Okay. So the arrows on the map are very important. White arrows are ground force reinforcement paths and helicopters. Pink arrows are your airplanes. So if he can neutralize this command here, he doesn't just lose a 1-point base, he also loses his aircraft, which is critical at this point because Hyperion's strategy for coming back right now is to knock out aircraft. By the way, Fern Speyer, oh my god, so overpowered, has a slightly longer range than this SAS and will be abusing it with its sniping rifle to try and pick off the SAS. And this is actually a pretty key position here for Hyperion. He needs this visibility so he can knock out vehicles with his planes, and that SAS goes down, and that's going to be brutal. Now, without the SAS there, his vision is not so hot. He can see a few things, but he can't see the reinforcement path. So he's not going to be able to do any more of those great Jaguar attacks where he's hitting two things at once. And he's also not going to see this coming. This is brutal. It is the slowest march of death possible. In fact, it's not even a march of death. It's a semicircle of standing. Not sure why that's not moving yet. Should be moving. Sappers engaging Fusiliers again. Once again, kind of a bad trade. You want your vehicles, you want your tanks, you want your mortars, you want your napalm bombers to come in and deal with this, or your own variant of Sappers. In this case, looks like the stun is good, actually. He might be able to clean this up. Luck is on his side. Stun not too long, though, but what it'll do is rewind the weapons feeds. So now he's going to have to come in. And here comes Freedom Fighters trying to cover or marching past because they have no vision suddenly. And no, they're actually going for the command. That is good. Going to run right across. There's absolutely no AA. There's nothing to fend this off. Here comes an F4F. Freedom Fighters fire. And now Gonzo. He had everything brought to knock this out, and now there's no more airplanes here for Hyperion. There's also +1 bleed, and this command tank all of a sudden going to a wrong position. He's actually left the game. He knew it. He knew right off the bat, I lost that command point. The game is over. He tapped out. Good game, the General McPenis and Hyperion. We look forward to seeing more of these players in Wargame Red Dragon. My name is Troublmaker. I will see you guys next week.